Tekken 8 is trash. Yeah, I said it. It's trash. I don't even know why Harada's even wasting his time, dude. Like, why? I really don't get it. Like, there's no Korean backdashes in this game. I don't know, dude. I don't even know what Harada's even trying to pull here, dude. Like, this doesn't even look like Tekken. Like, what did I watch in this presentation? Like, look at all these 2D things. Like, who wants guard crushing the meters? Dude, we already have enough meters in Tekken 7. We don't need more 2D Get this 2D trash out of my Tekken, dude. Like, this is not Tekken. Tekken 8, this game looks like trash. Come on, Harada. Get it together. How'd that sound? Pretty shitty, huh? Do I have your attention now? Do I? Well, let's talk about Tekken 8. A lot of hot takes going on right now. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of this stuff just seems pretty whack to me. So let's talk about it. I really just want to talk really briefly from a Guilty Gear player's perspective and try to like give you my thoughts and opinions on thoughts like those, or takes like hot takes like those, if you will, because quite frankly, I feel like they're pretty shitty. I get it, you know, maybe that came off a little harsh. I meant it. So why am I saying this in the first place? Why do I seem so irate about it, right? In particular, why I'm kind of irate or irritated about, you know, when I see these takes on Twitter is, quite frankly, from a Guilty Gear player standpoint, a legacy Guilty Gear player standpoint for that matter, you know, just like the legacy heads in Tekken, right? What I've always noticed is, like, when it comes to Tekken, there's always like frustration when it comes to like the newer iterations of the game. You know, I've watched people go from Tekken 5 to Tekken 6 complaining about walls and bounds and ground bounce and floor breaks. This is gonna break the game, and it's like everyone has a notion of what the game is supposed to be, but it's up to the developers to push the game in the first place, right? So what do I mean by this, right? It's obvious they're making the games. They're the ones that's gonna push whatever they want to see fit, right? The only argument you're gonna make to me after hearing something like this is, well, I'm spending my dollars on it, I just won't spend any money on it. That's fine. Totally fine. Maybe that game's just not meant for you. But what I want to point out in particular is that Tekken 8 actually has the one thing that Guilty Gear Strive has lacked for a very long time, and that is direction. Guilty Gear Strive's overall battle direction has seen all kinds of different, like, it's gone in all kinds of different ways. It's like this ever-changing video game that maybe they'll figure out how it's supposed to work and maybe they won't, right? We've been wanting direction for Guilty Gear Strive for quite some time. There's a lot of Guilty Gear players, right? I may not speak for everyone, but I definitely speak for myself. In Tekken, at least Harada has come out with Ikeda to tell you guys exactly what's going on, versus what Guilty Gear Strive was, hey guys, we're just gonna throw shit at the wall and whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? Like, that's really, really befuddling. Especially when Street Fighter 6 also shows it actually has clear focused direction, you know? That doesn't mean that the balance won't be perfect or like characters won't be broken or something along those lines. Balance is always gonna be an issue in fighting games, you know what I'm saying? So like, that's whatever, right? But it's when you see takes on Twitter and other social media platforms where it's like, new Tekken 8 trailer, there's no Korean backdash. Man, they're ruining Tekken. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, when I hear and read things like that, I have to ask myself, what is wrong with the person who tweeted this in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, don't start an uproar for no reason. And I think that's kind of what's happening with Tekken 8. Like, there's a lot of, oh, the system looks scrubby, or this looks this, and this looks that, and I don't know about this, but that's not my Tekken. Like, I'm telling you from a Guilty Gear player standpoint, whether you like to hear it or not, you have direction. At the very least, you have direction. We went through so many different builds of Guilty Gear Strive before we finally got to where we are right now. And the game is in a pretty good, it's in a pretty good place right now as we speak. Tekken 8 has so much time to sit in the oven and cook. You know what I mean? Like, they can make the game better. You know what I mean? What you see right now isn't the final product. Like, we've, as Guilty Gear players, have said so many things to, you know what I mean, Arxis for them to do, and much like any other fighting game, they do whatever they want, right? Of course, things like rollback are very necessary, so of course you have a reason to be like, well, is there going to be rollback? And it's like, you should have already guessed that. You know what I mean? We're in 2023 now. If a game comes out with delay-based netcode, it's most likely not a AAA title or AA title for that matter. And even then, there's a lot of indie games right now, indie fighting games that actually have rollback in there too. So it's like, I think most of these developers know that your game is dead on arrival with that rollback. So also want to see tweets like, oh, Tekken 8's not going to have rollback. Where the fuck did you see that? You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with you? Stop making stupid assumptions. Let them explain what the game is about. I get it. You don't want your game, or you don't want your Tekken to be like, oh, they added a meter now. They added this now, and it's not Tekken. It's like, well, unlike Guilty Gear Strive, where they've taken things away, they keep adjusting your game. You see what I'm saying? Like, as a Guilty Gear Strive player, I've lost moves for my main character. You guys have gained moves all throughout the years. They've never taken a move really away from you. They may repurpose the input to have a new move, whether it's good or bad. I can't tell you, right? I'm not 100% Tekken player. I'm not like a Tekken main. I play the game, trust you me. I definitely play the game. However, you know what I mean? Just because you lose a move and get a new one doesn't mean it's the end of the world, right? They've completely rearranged characters in Guilty Gear Strive from the ground up. And I'm seeing a lot of complaints about all the heat system and the heat moves and things like that. It's like these moves are in place to teach newer players. It's clear as day in the presentation. These moves are to help players focus on being good with these moves and then understand later on that you can get better with the rest of the kit. You see what I'm saying? Oh, well, that seems kind of scrubby with the simple mode or whatever. It's like, dude, Street Fighter 6 has this. You know what I'm saying? With their mono controls, and then they have their dynamic controls, and then there's classic. If they added a third mode, it would just be even more balancing for Tekken. You know what I mean? And I don't think that they want to go through another control scheme just to do this. The control schemes that they have currently right now seem pretty fine. I don't see the issue, right? It's to help newer players learn how to play your favorite game. They want more people to play your favorite game. Just as they want more people to play Guilty Gear and every other fighting game that's out there, they want things to be more palatable to people. I understand the concern of, well, if it gets too easy, then, you know, just any Tom, Dick, and Harry is just going to win. Well, to be honest with you, that's kind of what they want. They want a new era. That doesn't mean that you as a legacy player can't adapt. Even I will tell you with a straight face, I have my frustrations in Guilty Gear Strive myself. However, I still work my ass off to try to be good at the game. I still enjoy it to my degree. You know what I mean? Not everyone's going to be like me and sit there and try to, you know, struggle through it and try to really find your way in the game despite maybe how you may feel. You know, it's not like I think Guilty Gear Strive is a terrible game, right? I think it's a good game for the most part. I may shit on it like anyone else does whenever they're frustrated at their game, but deep down, like, I still enjoy the series and I still enjoy the game for the most part, right? It's only human to be upset about something, right? So can't really fault me there. Now, yes, in the same vein, well, I'm only human too. I have a right to be upset about this because this and this. It'd be one thing if you were already playing the game and you had your concerns, right? If you played the game and you saw it, understandable, but the game's not even close to like 20% done. You know, we got a trailer for a new character, Nina, not really new character, but legacy character for that matter. There's no new characters. They're still experimenting with the old roster to make sure that the game is good. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's too much uproar for like nothing, and it's really befuddling to me to just see that there's so many people that's just so upset about like nothing. Like, you have nothing to be upset about. So don't worry about no Korean backdash. Don't worry about there's no movement. Why not let Harada and the team explain to you what the game is? You know what I mean? Instead of, well, they ruined sidestepped, or oh, they ruined my Korean backdash. I mean, the people who, it's just funny to me. Like, someone's complaining about things like Korean backdash missing and how backdash should be in the game. Yet I see so many complaints about Zafina, who's my main character other than Julia, right? A lot of complaints about her backdash being too good. Oh man, nerf her movement. Make up your mind. See what I mean? Well, her backdash shouldn't be that good. That's the character. You know what I mean? Right? Just like how this is the game. You have to let them cook. It's just, these kinds of takes ruin a game before it even comes out, because people get they get misconceptions early on, and then it makes even the people who are interested kind of waver in their interest because, oh well, legacy player 65 over here says the game sucks. It's like, I'm sorry, even as me as a legacy player, you got to take my word even with a grain of salt too, because what you enjoy is what you enjoy, and that's what this video is about, right? It's for you guys to understand that you can enjoy whatever you want. No one needs to tell you what you need to enjoy or what you want to enjoy. Sure, there's going to be wild takes all over the place, right? But I'll be the first one to tell you, this Tekken to me looks more fun than most of the other ones. It's not because I think Tekken's boring or anything like that. I think Tekken's a freaking great game. But I also feel like 7 iterations, they had to do something different. They have to do something different. I think that's the problem. Too many people just see something different and they're like, whoa. Like, dude, you have to give it a try. You know what I mean? Like, they're always going to introduce new mechanics, new characters, new this, new that. And for better or worse, you may enjoy it, you may not. If it's not for you, that's fine. Totally understandable. But I just think that these wild takes on social media just, I can't tell people to stop. They're gonna speak how they feel. It's a social, you know, it's social media, right? You can say whatever the hell you want. But I just feel like at this point right now, game's not even out yet. Game totally looks, like I said earlier, like 20%, if that, complete. We don't know anything outside of what they showed in the most recent thing, which was this past weekend, TWT. I think I can't tell you to be, I can't tell you all to be excited, but what I can tell you is just give them some time. Don't jump the gun, because I will tell you with a straight face, much like every other fighting game, they want people to play these games, you know. And let me come back and talk about that. It's very clear, right? Harada and, you know, Bandai Namco, ArcSys, Capcom, the goal is to get more people to play. There are definitely some technical aspects of these games that we don't want to lose, because it makes it feel like it hurts our time as longtime players. I understand that better than anyone, right? But at the end of the day, the goal is to get more people to play, right? Even at the cost of losing their pre-existing player base. They're well aware of that, you know. And just watching them, for what it's worth, repurpose the Rage Drive and Rage Arch system from Tekken 7, it seems very interesting, more so now than ever. So I'm gonna talk about why I think it's interesting now too, in comparison to what it was before. So I get it, you legacy heads, well, this is a Tekken, there's no movement, there's no this, there's no that. Okay, fine. Let's just say Tekken 8 has the movement of Tekken 7, and that's already debunked, so we can push that aside, right? But you look at the mechanics, the game is designed to help not necessarily just newer players, but to help readjust how Tekken is played. Tekken at its core is always going to be a whiff punishing spacing game at its core. You can get into semantics if you want about sidestepping or whatever, fine. We'll just add movement as an extra option for the game, right? It's always going to be that way, right? So with them adding those newer mechanics, you have a new way to actually come back. And it isn't what really makes Tekken 8 interesting to me is it's not a game that has, like, I'm gonna just be honest, it's not a bullshit comeback mechanic. There is no major, oh my god, comeback, right? How you use that meter with the heat system, that's entirely up to you. It is player based. It isn't, this is going to be meta. Almost 100% can guarantee you, right? In fact, I'll just say 99.92% positive that the way this is going to work, right, in Tekken 8, it's all based on the player. How you feel about the game in the moment is how it's going to be, right? If you feel it is important right now to hold your advantage and use the heat system, then you can. If you're at a deficit, you can use it. If you can use it early, mid, late game. That is a choice. That is not predetermined. The community may come up with something down the road when the game fully comes out and says, this is the meta. At the end of the day, it is a mechanic that you can use at your leisure when you want to, when you think is right. Does that make sense to you guys? Does that make sense? Meter usage in all video games, be it an action game, when you're playing Devil May Cry, you want to pop your devil trigger whenever you want, pop it. You have the meter. Use it when you want to. You don't want it on, turn it off. You know what I mean? But that's an action game, Kensu. That's not the point. It is player choice. It is the choice of the player to use said mechanic at that given point in time. So when I'm seeing these comments about, oh, this is going to be scrubby, this is that, they added chip damage and things like that to allow people to be able to fight when at a deficit. That is it. I get it. I was winning. Why should you be able to do chip damage to me? This is a 3D game. Chip damage isn't really that big of a deal, especially when you can recover it back by just making contact. If they made it to where there was recoverable health and you could just run away, then guess what? Your Korean backdash becomes even more prevalent than it was before. I did my damage. I'm losing. All right, now let's back up. This guy's recoverable health is way lower than mine. I'm just gonna back it up, and I'm just gonna wait it out. I'll get my life bar back up, and people are just gonna watch a waiting game. And the point of the game is to see a little bit more action. Now I get it on the other side. Man, if the game's too aggressive, then everyone's gonna be mashing. These things happen all the time where people see like, oh, the game's aggressive, and then like the game balances itself out because people learn how to play neutral. We haven't even gotten the game in our hands yet, so we don't know if it's gonna be OD aggressive or not, right? They said the concept is aggression, not balls to the wall rush down, because pressure isn't infinite. So like, why should we feel that pressure is infinite? People already dice roll in fighting games as it is. So if you're saying that there's gonna dice roll me to death, that could be a thing. Don't know yet. But based on the system mechanics at the moment, nothing truly suggests that. Yeah, there's guard crush and all other stuff like that. They're adding in, I hate to say it like this, but they're adding in 2D mechanics. That is a 2D mechanic essentially for guard crush. They're trying to implement things that kind of open people up. Like, I get it on one front. Oh, it could be just these 5 moves they're talking about that's heat rush activated. They're probably just YOLO moves. I highly doubt that they would just throw like a lot of just like, I guess you can say skip neutral YOLO type moves onto these things. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, right? But like, if they're important, then it makes sense why they'd be there. I mean, you could say Gen 442's YOLO, I guess. Gen 4-4's YOLO, I guess. You know what I mean? Paul Deathfish is pretty YOLO. But I mean, they're just adding more properties to these things to make the game a bit more spicy. Maybe to some degree it seems like, well, it shouldn't be there, that's not Tekken. It's like, well, a lot of people complained about, you know, the 2D characters, and I mean, for what it's worth, sorry Tekken players, Akuma's lore. So if he comes back in Tekken 8 terrorizing you guys because he can jump, it is what it is. He's a lore character now. He's a part of the Tekken lore. Just busting up them freaking machines. So he's there now. You're gonna have to deal with that. I don't know how far along that's gonna go in this game. Who knows? Maybe he won't be there. Maybe he will. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Right? I won't be surprised, honestly, because Street Fighter 6. But that's besides the point. I just think at the end of the day, we have to slow down and like just allow things to kind of work its way. This day and age in social media, everyone's got a voice, and I think that that's great. I think that we should voice how we feel. We should voice opinions. We should voice things. But I do think at the same time, we have to be careful how we jump the gun. You don't really know how you're affecting certain people. We don't know how, like, you know, you never really know how far you're reaching when you say what you say. Essentially is what I'm trying to get at. So just think about it. And without making this too long here, trust me when I say, from what I can tell right now, I do feel like Harada and their team, they're taking a very, very, very cautious approach to this game. Otherwise, we'd probably see Tekken 8 by the end of this year. And if we do see it at the end of the year, while that'd be great, I think I'd rather them spend a little bit more time on it and release it next year, as opposed to 2023. So yeah, man, quite literally at the end of the day, I just feel like as a Guilty Gear player, you know, watching how the game is readjusted and things have changed in Strive, you know, they've readjusted the entire player experience for legacy players. I feel like from looking at Tekken, it doesn't seem like you guys are really losing too much, if much at all. I do hope that you guys can kind of just recognize that there's a lot clearer direction for Tekken 8 as opposed to other games that already are out here. So, you know, please understand what you do have. You've never really had a big lapse in your series like that. I think you guys are going to be fine. Just take it light and let's not jump the gun. Anyway, with that being said, let me know how you guys feel about Tekken 8 in the comments below. How are you feeling about it? Do you think some of these takes are too wild? You have a take of your own? Let me know. Talk to me. And yeah, let me get up out of here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.